Hey everyone, we got the Sage of Thunder Sakura banner yesterday, along with one cool trial and jokingly easy Esper fight, but alas, it's all about Sakura today. So let's dive right in because Sakura is just a carbon copy of Lord of the Seas Nicole with just another element. So base form, she's a support unit, and in Brave Shift she's a support plus lightning evoke chainer. The abilities, as you can see in the base form, there aren't many. At least her triple cast can be used for all types of magic, meaning she isn't locked to anything basically. Same as Nicole, the 30% lightning amplification. He had water, also adds the appropriate element to the team and increases lightning, earth and dark resistance by 100%, which is cool. Also full status immunity for 5 turns, it's nice. One thing I'd like to mention is that she is missing her EX plus 3 ability. That is a cooldown that she unlocks. She does not have that yet, I believe. She's getting it later, unless I'm mistaken, and the base form doesn't have it. Not quite sure, but it's just the same as is with Nicole. The limit burst removes all buffs, so a perfect dispel pretty much for the enemy team. 300% stat buff for your own team, 200% LB buff for the whole own team, and a perfect debuff dispel on your own team, meaning all debuffs are gone, which is cool. Here's the magic. Unsurprisingly, she changed in Thundaga and Thundaja. Though Thundaja is a finishing move, Thundaga is the chaining move. Nothing too surprising. Cool thing, protect Gashelga 50% magic and physical mitigation respectively, which is nice, along with 200% buffs to defense and spirit, which is good. Nothing too surprising though. Most of the units have it these days. Here's the Brave Shift abilities. She actually does have a EX plus 3 one. I'm sorry about the confusion. So she has the Plant Killer 160%. Only at EX plus 3, which is kind of annoying, but it's the new normal. We should accept it, even though we shouldn't, but what can we do other than closing our wallets? She also has pretty much the same things that Nicole has, meaning she's got that lightning evoke chain in bolting strike. She's got the Sage's Rage, which is a minor buff to attack and magic. It's also a killer buff, 100% to fairy and plant. But honestly, we do have better buffs to each, like Bulwark has a 150 fairy killer and 150 plant killer. You have to use 2 separate abilities for this, but it's a lot more. And 160 plant killer on her EX plus 3 cooldown will not warrant her a spot in your team unless you really, really, really want that lightning element, which outside that one single Dark Visions fight, you don't want it. Her passives, I mean, for evocation, not that exciting, honestly, so let's just move along. The limit burst, pretty much like for like with Nicole, 350 stat buffs, which are already power crept by RF. She has that 45% lightning amp, which is still very good, and the 250 LB boost, which is also very good, but again, we do have other options for lightning imbues, and with Yigni being a very, very strong unit who can also spread element imbues, I don't particularly see much use for Sakura these days, especially in with global exclusive units being around. And who knows, maybe the next not Dark Visions, Clash of Wills is going to feature lightning, and we'll be getting a lightning specific Clash of Wills unit, and you can bet any amount of money that this Clash of Wills global exclusive unit will mop the floor with Sakura, because that is what has been happening all the time. Like, think Hawkeye, who was supposed to come at some point, but he didn't. We got Ling instead, who did the same thing, but less damage. But the overall verdict is that Ling is pretty much our replacement for Hawkeye, and Ling is just overall the better unit. And I fully expect the same thing to happen with Sakura. and or Nicole. Maybe, but Nicole with Tifa around, he might have some use. Sakura on the other hand, nope. Absolutely no. So Sakura's Trustmaster and Super Trustmaster are pretty much also carbon copies with minor adjustments, like the lightning resistance on the Trustmaster. For Nicole, it was water. It's still 100% LB fill rate on a Trustmaster, which is super nice, honestly. I do like it. But I mean, it still has very rare usage outside of Dark Visions, potentially none whatsoever. I haven't used Nicole's Trustmaster ever, so I don't think I would ever use Sakura's Trustmaster ever. Same applies to the clothes from Sakura, still no magic, even though she has killers on it. So 42 defense, 64 spirit. It's only really usable by units such as Aerith, the Cetra Descendant Aerith, that is, I should specify, or Shuyu or Melia, for example. Those are the only ones that would actually use this, mainly for the killers. I mean, they are physical magical, which is cool. But yeah, also Bulwark might like this, but yeah, it's good for certain units, but not generally useful. Division card is exactly the same. The only difference is the passive level 10. It's 20% lightning, water, light, and dark resistance. And yeah, everything else is just the same. 800 base HP, 80 base magic, 80 base spirit, nothing changed. Still 40 MP across level 4 and 7. It's a trash take card for Dark Visions, highly questionable passive perks, and if you're ever using Aerith with holy shenanigans, yeah, that might become relevant. But outside of that, you never, ever are going to use this card. Ever. So yeah, easy skip. And I mean, we're closing in on the end of this review, and it might be the shortest one. I don't even feel like it's necessary to talk about her capabilities as a quote-unquote lightning bards, because, I mean, yeah, she's okay, but there's no unit that actually gains immediate value from having Sakura around. I mean, yeah, Ibarra could, because Ibarra uses lightning in her base form, but who uses Ibarra these days? I mean, I did yesterday, but that was just for fun. But nobody's actually using her for actual trials these days anymore, or Dark Visions, or Clash of Wills, so there's no point in talking about Sakura being a lightning bard when she actually is just a dead slot most of the time. So yeah, she has a good place in a meta for lightning teams, that is without a doubt, but outside of that, yeah, she's not useful. Stat boost, power creep by Aerith, straight up. Usability in Cow for morale gauge, questionable, highly questionable. Yeah, I put his, I mean her, as you can see, I also carbon copied most of the stuff from my Nicole review, so Ling has her stuff and Bulwark too, so not really that exciting. And the 160 plant killer unlocked at EX plus 3, otherwise only 100%, well, heavily power crept by Bulwark, so there isn't really much going for Sakura these days. And if you're thinking about skipping now, you're thinking right. Should you pull? No. She's not relevant outside the lightning stages in Clash of Wills or Dark Visions, and I would highly doubt her usefulness in Clash of Wills. And it's a reason why I didn't even bother using tickets on her, even though I only have 2, so chances are I wouldn't get her anyway. But even if I had, like, say 10, 20, 50 tickets, I wouldn't spend a single one on her. And she's power and utility crept by Bulwark. She has worse stat buffs than Aerith, and don't fall for it, basically. I just skip her. She's a nice off-banner to get, or you need to pull with tickets if you want to, but I wouldn't suggest doing it. I mean, if I get her off-banner someday when I'm pulling for a unit, which I'm not knowing which one is next, I wouldn't be too sad, I wouldn't be too happy, I would be just neutral. She's nice to get, but ultimately I won't ever use her probably. And yeah, that's the end of this review. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the shortest one. There isn't really much to say, so I'm really hoping that we'll get something more exciting next week. Probably Roka with some mocking event, I don't know. We'll see. But for today, that's it. I don't know if I have anything planned for the weekend regarding videos. Probably not, it's a dead week. Maybe I'll do some funsy trials with a few old units. I don't know yet. So if you have any suggestions what I could do on the weekend for you guys, go ahead and tell me in the comments. I'll gladly read it and see what I can do. But for now, this is it for today. Have a lovely, wonderful rest of the Friday morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're from, and see you next time.